It's Mr. Kugler, and I'm back again, and I want to do a little bit with pie irons. And I'm not sure how many of you scouts have used these before, but these are a great little gadget. These are Rome cast iron pie irons. It's important that I point out that they're cast iron. They also make these in aluminum, and you need to be careful with aluminum because they can very quickly get warped if you put too much heat on them. The cast iron, although you have to be careful that you don't ruin the seasoning on them, just like on a cast iron Dutch oven, they're a little bit more resilient. You have to be careful to keep them clean, not have them wet. Same problems that you have with a Dutch oven. So today what we're going to do, I have this pan here just for filming purposes. This is something I use with my Dutch ovens, just to be able to have some contrast here. And I'm going to show you, we're going to make an egg sandwich today. It's going to be a little bit different than you normally would use a pie iron, and it's going to take a couple steps as we go ahead and do this. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start and spray a little canola oil in the inside of our pie iron. And I've already reassembled our coals here because I don't need a lot of heat here. I'm going to use this basically like a frying pan to begin. And I'm going to start with 2 eggs that hopefully I will get in here without any shells. And just like anything you're doing, I'm noticing that I am not all that level here. So I'm going to take and prop my egg up a little bit here. The handles on these have a little bit of a bend to them. So I just adjust accordingly. And we'll get our second egg in here. And of course, I got a little bit of egg yolk in there and a little bit of egg on my pan. Another good reason for having this pan underneath here is just so that I can practice my leave no trace principles and not create a mess on the ground. You can find some other tools, maybe use a pan, maybe use some other type of device that you'll clean. Now what I'm going to do is find a way to place this nice and level on my coals, because remember, my eggs are filling up that bottom half of that pie iron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this set up on the bottom. I'm going to move it around a couple times because I want to try to prevent burning. Notice I didn't say guarantee, but I'm going to try to prevent burning. So we'll take and we'll try to cook this. In the meantime, I'll tell you the next steps that we're going to do. We're going to use some American cheese, some ham, deli ham, and 2 slices of bread. Now, you may have some scouts that don't like ham or can't have ham for dietary reasons. You could use sliced roast beef, deli roast beef in here. I guess if you really wanted to be crazy, you could have started in advance of this and cut some bacon strips in half and cook that up in the pie iron on the fire. So what we're going to do is let's get this egg cooked, and then we'll continue our assembly. Every so often, I'm going to take a look inside the pie iron and see how we're doing. Now I just flipped over my pie iron. Let's hope that it's separated from the other side and dropped. That's why I sprayed that spray oil on. Pie irons have little hooks up the metal rods to be able to hold the pie irons together. We had some mixed success with that separating, but I think we'll be fine. My egg is looking done. My yolks are still a little runny, but honestly, I like it that way, with them a little bit runny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a surface that I don't have to worry about damaging. And I brought my knife out here just to separate some of the egg that's stuck on the pie iron. Open up my pie iron. A little bit of carbon here from the perimeter here. So I'm going to get rid of some of the egg here that was captured in the edges here and maybe got a little bit of ash on it. I'll just dispose of that properly. And now what I'm going to do is just going to get a little bit tricky. I'm going to give this side another little squirt of of the oil, and I'm going to put a slice of bread. And you'll notice this pie iron is made to fit perfectly a piece of white bread. And I'm going to put my ham right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over on top of my egg. And then I'm going to flip my pie iron, expose the other half of the egg. And now what I'm going to do is put my American cheese and my other slice of bread. I'm going to give it another little squirt so my bread does not stick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this pie iron down and put that hook back on it. You'll notice that I have some bread sticking out. I can either burn that off, or I can carefully remove the debris or the crust that's hanging over and be able to dispose of it properly. And then what I'm going to do is just find a nice another area of coals here. And now what I'm attempting to do here is I'm going to try to toast up the bread, melt that cheese, and heat the ham. And what I'm going to have is a nice egg sandwich. With that bread lapping a little bit over the edge of the pie iron, it basically crimps it together and creates a nice seal. And it'll make almost like a hot pocket of breakfast in a sandwich that'll be easy to serve and easy to eat. So the important thing to do is, if you're going to make a mistake of flipping it more than flipping it less. You will be amazed on how quickly things will cook in a pie iron, especially since it was already heated from cooking the egg originally. Or if you're the second scout to go in and use that same pie iron to cook, it's already preheated. It's not going to take as much time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check periodically, and you could see that you're already starting to see, I closed it, already starting to see that that's coming together nicely. So I'll keep flipping this a couple times, and if all goes well, I'll have a nice egg sandwich for breakfast. So Scouts, I just checked this a couple seconds ago, and I know one side was really toasted up nice. Let's take a look and see what this other side looks like. I think we may have achieved perfection. So I'll come in over here. Remember, I've got a metal surface here. You notice when I was cooking, I had the coals off to the side. I'm not cooking on top of flames. That is going to be, I can guarantee you, a disaster cooking on flames. You're just going to have too much heat. So what I'm going to do is these hinge together. I'm going to pull it apart, carefully put down on a rock here so I'm not damaging anything. And you can see how delicious that looks. And I'm going to just take, and oh my goodness gracious. Doesn't that look like the most perfect toasted cheese sandwich you ever had? But think about the fact that instead of a toasted cheese sandwich, it is an egg sandwich that you can have in the morning, complete with a little protein in it from the ham, and deliciously cooked egg. And I got to tell you, you're getting up on a Sunday morning or just a Saturday morning on a camporee, and you're looking for a breakfast that doesn't have a lot of cleanup. I got to tell you, these pie irons are a great way to go. You bridge the gap a little bit from just doing the normal pie iron to using it almost like a skillet, frying up that egg and then assembling the dish. So I hope this gave you another way to think about pie irons. I hope that you don't forget about pie irons and find a way to incorporate them occasionally into your menu planning, and get out there and cook and have some fun.